Hi, I'm John Faisandier, and thanks for stopping by. Do you ever notice how isolating leadership can feel? You can't talk to your team about the challenges that you're having with them. Other managers might be struggling too, but nobody's really admitting it. And the issues that you're dealing with, well, they might be too sensitive to kind of workshop together at work. So you read another book, you listen to another podcast, you try techniques that you've learned somewhere, and some of it helps, but you're still carrying it, still guessing, still wondering if you're the only one that's finding this hard. Here's what I've learned over 20 years of this work. You can't see your own patterns when you're inside them. You can't practice new approaches in your head. At some point, you need to stop consuming content and start working with people who get it. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. There's a reason managing workplace conflict and tension feels hard, even after all this time. And it's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's not because you lack courage or skill. It's because you're trying to solve a relational problem in isolation. Think about it. You can't see how you come across in tense moments. You can just feel the tension. You can't hear the gap between what you mean and what actually lands. You can only see the confused reactions. And you can't notice the patterns that you repeat in conflict. You're too busy managing the moment. And when you try to think it through alone, well, you're using the same thinking that created the problem in the first place. The frameworks help, the techniques help, but they only take you so far. Because what you really need is someone outside your situation who can see what you can't. Someone who's been there, who understands the weight of it, who can help you see the blind spots. That's not something you get from content. That's something that you get from working with people. So what actually changes when you work on these leadership challenges with other managers instead of trying to figure it out alone? Well, the isolation lifts. When you hear other capable managers describe the exact same struggles that they're having with their teams that you're having with yours, well, you realize it's not just you. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're just dealing with something that's genuinely hard, something that most people never get help with. That shift alone changes everything. And second, you see what you couldn't see before. Someone asks you a question about your story that makes you pause, or they notice a pattern that you've been repeating without realizing it. Or they reflect back how you sounded when you described that conversation, and you hear yourself differently. Suddenly, something that felt impossible becomes clear. Now here's the third thing that happens when managers work together on building trust and handling conflict. You get challenged safely. Not criticized, not judged, challenged. Someone in the room says, "Have you considered it might not be about them? What if it's about how you are setting up the expectation?" And because they're saying it with care, not criticism, you can actually hear it. You don't get defensive, you get curious. And that's what happens when you're working with peers who are dealing with the same stuff. No one's pretending that they've figured it out. Everyone's here to learn. And fourth, the next thing is that you practice. Not just talk about what you should do, actually rehearse it. Try the language, get feedback, adjust, try again. So when that difficult conversation comes at work, you're not guessing. You've already practiced. You might be wondering, I've done leadership training, I've read books about difficult conversations. Why would working with other managers be any different? Well, here's why. Most training gives you information. Here's the framework, here's the technique, good luck with applying it. But knowing what to do and being able to do it in the moment are completely different things. When you're in a tense conversation and your heart rate is up and someone's getting upset, you don't remember the framework, you default to your patterns. And the only way to change that is to practice with other people in a safe space where you can mess up and try again. That's what working with peers does that content can't. You're not just learning concepts, you're building muscle memory. You're rewiring your responses. And you're doing it with people who understand what it's like, who can challenge you without making you feel small, who can see what you can't. And that's what accelerates insight. Now, working on your leadership challenges with other managers in a peer coaching environment isn't for everyone. If you're just starting to think about handling conflict and build trust better, you're probably not ready yet. And that's fine. Keep watching the videos, keep learning. But if you're at the point where trust has taken a hit with your team or with your customers, conversations feel heavier than they should, or you're tired of guessing what to say next, or you already know something needs to change but you're not sure what or how, if you're done with consuming content and ready to actually work on this with people who get it, then this might be the right next step for you. Not another framework to file away, not another technique to try on your own, but a place to think clearly, to talk things through without posturing, to work out what actually needs to change before things harden any further. On February the 10th, I'm running a session called Building Management Trust, a facilitated working conversation for managers dealing with trust tension right now. This isn't a webinar where I'll talk to you for an hour. It's a small group of managers working together on real trust challenges that they're facing with their teams or customers. We'll look at how trust actually breaks under pressure, what keeps it stuck, how managers rebuild it without over-explaining or people-pleasing or losing authority. Here's what it is. It's practical, human and grounded. A place to slow down and think clearly. Real situations, not theory. And here's what it isn't. It's not a lecture or a pitch. It's not performance or posturing. It's not a place where you'll be put on the spot. You'll leave with clear language for difficult conversations, a simple framework that you can use immediately and reuse, and one practical shift that you can apply immediately. There's a $17 commitment fee. It's not a ticket price, it's a commitment fee. It keeps the room focused. It filters out spectators. It signals that this is a working session, not just content to consume. And spots are intentionally limited, so we can have a real conversation. If trust feels strained or with your customers or your team right now, and you don't want to keep guessing your way through difficult conversations, you're welcome to join us for this facilitated working session. It's February the 10th at 5 o'clock on New Zealand time or 3 o'clock Australian Eastern. 1 hour, small group, real challenges, practical tools that you can use the next morning if you need to. The registration link is in the description. And if it doesn't feel like the right time, no problem at all. There's no pressure here. The videos and the emails will continue from me. Look, here's the thing. At some point, you have to stop trying to figure this out alone. Not because you can't, but because you shouldn't have to. Leadership's hard enough without carrying it in isolation. If you're ready to think with others, I'll see you on February the 10th. The link is in the description. I'm John Faisandier, and thanks for watching.